You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
And here we are.
Hello.
And we're miles from Main Street. Thank you for coming back. We're completely off script this week with no plan. We are going to talk Disney and have a great time. So I hope you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's a wild ride in the
You keep wanting to talk.
I do. Can I talk now?
You can talk. Well, wait.
Okay, not yet.
Make sure you go and share this with a friend. Tell them you're enjoying it. And hit the subscribe and like buttons on YouTube and subscribe on your favorite podcast provider. Now I'll let you talk. He's not going to talk.
Are you kidding? Are we doing this again? Are we doing this streaming thing again? Hi, I'm here. Can anybody hear me?
We are. Yes, you did freeze up for a second there.
Okay. Yeah. Let's be Disney friends and have a Disney chat.
I think it's a great idea. I think that it's a great night for a chat. I was thinking about what could we talk about. And when we first got onto this little call of ours, we started talking about Star Wars. So I don't know if you have more to say about specifically the Disney trilogy.
I think I loved Force Awakens. I thought it was great. Last Jedi gets a bad rap, and I think it's really worth revisiting if you didn't like it. It expands the universe in a way that the Force Awakens didn't. But unfortunately, the loud people got very loud with that show and with that movie, and they had to course correct for Rise of Skywalker, in which they hadn't actually had a plan to begin with, and so somehow he just came back.
Well, if we're gonna really get into this, the Last Jedi did its thing, and the people were loud. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't just that they were listening, because Solo came out 6 months later and bombed in Star Wars. In the Star Wars world, it bombed.
Yeah,
and. So when you take everything that was being said, along with a movie coming 6 months later that does terrible, you kind of are forced to think, well, I think we better change something. And it just became a mess of a movie in Rise of Skywalker. But I don't think Last Jedi or Solo, specifically Solo, is a bad movie. And I don't think that it would have done bad had they not tried to start cramming Star Wars down.
Yes,
Group of people who are used to not getting movies.
Mm-hmm. I love Solo. Solo has one of the best things in it, and I'll bet you can't guess what it is.
I don't know what you. Is it the reveal at the end? I don't want to give.
No, it's not the reveal. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. But this is such a throwaway. Anything. It's so tiny and minuscule that I bet people don't even recognize that it happened in some cases. So they're flying along in the Maelstrom, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, we could stop at Black Spire Outpost. And this was before Galaxy's Edge opened. And my brain went.
I don't recall that line in there.
Yes.
All right, great. Now I have to go back and watch it.
I mean, darn, right?
Was this you're talking Last Jedi?
No, this is in Solo. Yeah. The the computer, the droid, is listing off places they could go, and she mentions Black Spire Outpost. It could have been Batu, but I'm pretty sure it was Black Spire Outpost. But either way, is referencing Galaxy's Edge, right? And this
Yeah.
was before that land had opened at the parks, and so I was like, "Oh, we get to actually go there." And
It would
so
have been nice if they had gone there.
it would have been nice. I would love to see a movie, or I mean, like, I think Young Jedi Adventures went to BSO. Which is
Yes,
what we
I
call it
believe it
because we're
did.
cool.
I didn't watch it, but yes, I believe I do remember hearing that.
I
Yep.
think they went there, and one of my favorite Star Wars books is set there. In fact, there's two Galaxy's Edge books, and one of them is like a romance, and one of them follows. Oh, what's her name?
Vi Marati.
Vi Marati. Yes, and she's a walk around character there too. Walk
She
around.
is. I have not read either of those books, but I know of her. So I did get a picture with her and Ray when we were there.
Yeah. Cool.
Exciting.
I got a picture of this little droid swearing a whole bunch, but it was all beeped, so it worked out.
That's the other part about Last Jedi that I don't like, is that there is not a human character that says "May the Force," or not. I have a bad feeling about this. And Ryan Johnson explained it as BB-8 saying it at the beginning when they're working on bombing the big old ship, and it's like, that's a cop. I can see the appeal in trying to do something like that, but yeah.
Here's where I think that I think Ryan Johnson's film should not have been put in a trilogy. I think they should have let J.J. Abrams do his trilogy. Just, here you go, do your trilogy, and let Ryan Johnson.
That's the problem, is he said, fine, I will do one movie, and that's it.
Well, then they picked a really bad second hitter. You know what I mean? They did. I don't think it was a good. Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it didn't seem like they had a clear-cut plan to get from movie 1 to movie 3. And Ryan Johnson came in, and it feels like he just said, screw all you guys, I'm going to blow everything up.
I believe that's what he did say. I mean, like, I don't know that because I'm not friends with him. You know, we're not cool. But I do believe that's what he was thinking of, right? Is to be like, let's change everything. Let's move it around. So I think that it was important for the Star Wars universe. And in fact, I really enjoyed that aspect of that movie. You know, with the little kid. I mean, spoilers for this movie, right? But with the little kid at the end, you know, getting the Force and becoming gray. I thought that was great. There's no light side, there's no dark side. They're just his people. And I also thought, you know, examining Luke's
move the broom. We don't know what side he's on. I mean, come on. Gray Jedis are just a rumor at this point.
True. The concept of a gray Jedi and the concept of the Force being ubiquitous rather than locked into certain people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like that, and I also like the Acolyte for that too. I actually watched the Acolyte, all of it, even.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it really was a good series. The last 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Like,
it's true.
There was something there. They just waited to the last 2 episodes to do anything about it.
Yeah. You know, I still haven't finished Andor for whatever that is. So of all the Disney shows or all the Star Wars shows on Disney Plus, I've not watched Andor.
How dare you?
But I also haven't watched Skeleton Crew yet either. So I guess I'm a bad fan.
Grab the kids, turn on Disney Plus, and get yourself some Skeleton Crew.
But if I'm going to turn on Disney Plus, I'm going to be watching the best animated movie of all time. I mean,
For,
that's almost why I have Disney Plus.
and for those of you listening, he's got a Robin Hood
Oh,
shirt.
yes. I keep forgetting we're listeners, which is
Specifically
how I
with
consume
Scott.
And it says I can't adult today is what it says. My lovely children gave it to me for Christmas. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can't
Mhm.
adult today either. So
Yeah.
I mean, you brought in a whole mess of Star Wars stuff there at the end. I would say going back to, we say Gray Jedi, but I think we have to more call it a gray Force user.
Agreed.
And, I mean, the idea obviously is something they're floating around. When you look at Balin from the Ahsoka series,
Mhm.
I can't remember his full name, but Balin was clearly some sort of gray Force user, along with his sidekick, and they made a point to show that his saber was orange, not red, which I think is kind of a
Mhm.
neat little nod, because you think he might be bad, but it's orange, so he's not really bad. He's just out for himself. Now, I'll get really geeky with you for a second. One of the last series that Dark Horse was able to publish for comics was called Dawn of the Jedi, and
Mhm.
it kind of was when they were finding the Force. The characters were already using the Force when it started, but they definitely were using both sides of the Force. They were gray, and in those stories, and one of them goes full evil, or dark, goes full dark side, right? And that's where the antagonist comes into the whole thing. So I mean, they could be working on something with that. They definitely use a lot of the prose and comics to tell the stories they're telling now. So it'd be interesting to see if they bring that into it, because I know there's a Force Origin movie coming.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
Fingers
There is
crossed.
a Force. Well, I mean, it's in development, right? And it's got a pretty good director. I can't remember his name, but he did the Wolverine. He did Logan, not the Wolverine. The Wolverine was a bad movie, and I'm sorry I brought that into your public mind again. But Logan was very good, and the director of that is going to be the director of this Dawn of the Jedi movie. So I'm excited for that. I think that's going to be great.
Agreed. One of the things I was thinking about, if I could switch gears here, is I've been toying with this idea of epic universe. I mean, I don't usually talk about that dark space on the other side
But
of
we
where
are
we
talking
go.
about the dark side of things now. So
Ooh,
see what that segue? That was a good segue.
that was a good one, yes. Um, they are opening a park this year. Um, if you look back, this is a once in a decade thing to happen between Universal and Disney opening a park. It happens once a decade.
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, the outcry for Disney to respond with a fifth gate, I think, has been a little much.
Are
But
you saying
I do think we should talk about their response. So
are
yes,
you saying that fans are acting entitled and say that Mickey should spend a lot more money? Is that what you're saying?
maybe. I don't want to get on the fans too much. I think the internet sucks, but I think the fans of Disney can be awesome. So
Yes, absolutely. And I think the loud people getting loud is problematic. But So what? Okay, so remind me, what was their response?
So that's kind of the discussion, right? What is their response? Because if they don't announce a fifth gate, then they didn't do anything. But wait, there's more. You've got all this stuff happening in Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of this is all coming from the D23 Expo that happened. Sorry, the D23 Ultimate Fan Event. It's not just an expo anymore. um, but they had a lot of announcements there, and now we've had some time to soak those in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've found out that we're losing the Rivers of America to get this Cars attraction, whatever it may be. We're getting a villain, excuse me, a Villain's Land. And I think that's going to be really cool and a lot of fun to finally see a Villain's Land. There's been this rumor of a Villain's Park. Give me a land. I think it's going to be great. We have Dino Land changing over at Animal Kingdom, which obviously is something that's needed. So, I mean, this is remember, $60 billion that they said they're going to be spending. Is that the number?
I mean, you could have said infinity amount of dollars and you would have still been correct. So,
well, okay. But my point is they spend 20, and because I think they said over 10 years. Typically it's 20, I believe, is what they would spend in that time. So I think the math is fuzzy right now, but you've got the Monsters Inc. expansion happening at the studios now, where we've talked about that. The Muppets are moving over to Rock and Roller Coaster. We've got the test track change happening. You've got this smirk on your face. I can't keep rattling the stuff off because I feel like you have something to say.
No, I'm agreeing with you. What I'm trying to, I'm not smirking. This is my resting smirk face. No, I'm not smirking. What you're describing seems like what's the term? A calculated response. It seems like a response that is ready to be made. It's designed to open a fifth gate at Walt Disney World in this time, in this economy, and in this time of the world, I think would be short-sighted. I think they would do what lots of video games do: open it, and it wouldn't work very well, and there'd be lots of bugs. I mean, you don't get away with opening a park anymore and having the cement still be, or having the asphalt still be gummy. You can't do that. Can you imagine if that happened? What the social media, TikTok, rope droppers would be like? They'd be insane. Plus, it takes how long to build one of these parks? It's not like they can do it in secret. So I think a calculated response of updating what they have and redoing things that need to get revamped rather than starting on something new is wise. Plus, I like the idea that Walt Disney World is sort of encased, and it is this Disney bubble. And if you open a fifth gate, you're going to have all of that construction, and all of the bubble's going to start cracking. And I don't want that to happen. I like the insulated aspect of Walt Disney World. Yes, granted, it's all down there at the freeway, but it's still there. And so if you have a fifth gate, like I do not think a fifth gate is wise. Period. Unless you can do something really awesome and iconic. The golf ball, the zoo, Universal Studios, and Disneyland is what we always called it growing up, right? So why do you need to go to all that? You can go to that in California. And the answer is because it's in Florida, and it's amazing, and it's special, and it's iconic. unless you're going to do that. And to be fair, Epic Universe, isn't that combining a whole bunch of IP that Universal owns? So it's like Harry Potter and Nintendo and stuff like that.
Harry Potter, Nintendo, I don't know that they own it. Harry Potter is not owned by Universal. J.K. Rowling does still own and control that. But I think the one IP is Universal Monsters. That I forget the name of the land that's going into. But yeah, they're going to do a Nintendo World, which Nintendo didn't sell that to Universal. That's a license. I mean, this is Universal, right? They license their stuff. They don't have the IP to create things, right? Look at what they've got. Simpsons, well, that's Disney
that's
now.
on Disney Plus right now, right?
Yeah. What else you got? Jimmy Fallon? I don't think well, that might be more of a that's an NBC Universal thing, right?
Yeah.
So I mean they've got that at least, but no one's gonna go ride a ride themed around the Today Show. So
hold us there.
Only for another couple of days.
Yeah. I think it's irresponsible for Disney to open a fifth gate at this moment, right? And probably in this decade, and honestly, probably in our lifetimes. Like, open a fifth gate for our grandchildren,
and if you look at the history of Disney World, there is this big cloud hanging over them from when they opened Animal Kingdom, because it didn't increase attendance, it cannibalized it. It basically just took those crowds and spread them out. So why spend the money it takes to build a new park if it's not going to increase attendance? Sure, you might get a quick spike when it first opens, but it's not going to. They're afraid it won't sustain that increase of people.
I think it's more wise. I think it's more wise to build and open more themed hotels and high-end, not necessarily monorail, but the moderates, right? I think I would love to see another version of Port Orleans Riverside, right? I think that's, it's not value-based, but it's not so far off the mark that people can't attend. People can still go have a good experience at Port Orleans Riverside, and then head to the parks and have a good day, right? And they can still do that at the value resorts too, Pop and all of those, All-Star Music and whatnot. So I think that's a better use of money and service to the community. I don't think opening a fifth gate is wise. I do like, there's other podcasts on the internet who suggest that the fifth gate is actually Disney Springs, and I kind of agree with that, right? Because it's a non. I mean, in this time when everybody's pinching pennies for eggs, right? The idea of trying to go to Walt Disney World is out of the reach of some people, and when you have stuff like Disney Springs or downtown Disney or wherever, those shopping districts, you'd end up spending money to go shopping, but there's movie theaters and there's the balloon ride and and all this sort of lower cost stuff where you can go and just have a nice time. I'd love to see them do more of something like that rather than a ticketed place. Open a fifth gate, but make it free. I could get behind that real quick. Have garden spaces, have one of the things about Shanghai Disney is that walk up to the park is all, I think, I haven't watched any videos on it recently, but there's a whole like garden space that's free to the public. Do that. Do that. Don't. The idea that you have to open a fifth gate to the words fifth gate makes it sound like you're just asking for more money. And in a way, that's kind of what they are. Now, I think Universal has some capacity issues, right? Because aren't they reaching capacity pretty quick with just the
I honestly don't follow them close enough to be able to answer
right.
that, so I don't know.
But I do know. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna let you go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
You,
because
please.
they they have. I'll just keep talking. It's fine. They have the regular park, but don't they have Islands of Adventure as well?
Yeah, and
And in
Citywide.
order to ride the train back and forth, you had to buy tickets for both. I think that's what we had to do.
Yes.
And that's cool. And to be fair, I kind of wish Disney had a little bit of that going on. But they also close at like 8:00 at night, right? So does Disney need to, or does Universal need to open this Epic Universe third gate? I guess. It's not something I would go to see.
They've bought the land and bulldozed it.
Construction, yeah. The Donkey Kong ride looks cool.
Yeah, I mean they're ride testing now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the rides, so it is not going to all be open in May when they, cut the ribbon. But
no, I mean, part of the thing of Disney is that it's never done, right? And so, when was the last time you went to Walt Disney World and didn't see "Please excuse our mess" signs? Please pardon our dust signs. I mean,
I still can remember going on my honeymoon and seeing the walls up for Winnie the Pooh, and that to this day is Tammy's favorite character, and we took a picture of her in front of the sign. I took a picture of her on our honeymoon in front of the sign, and it was frustrating that it wasn't there yet. But I think that definitely means that it's going to bring people back, right? Like if it's a museum, even a museum has rotating displays going on, right? It's something changing, something to make people come back. So yeah, I mean, but I think it's nice, and I don't know that any park's ever been this way, but it's nice to have things that you say are going to be there open on the day it's open.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you're going to change things down the road, right? Like, I don't care. Go ahead. But if there's going to be a Ministry of Magic, have it open when I'm there, right?
Yeah. And then hopefully those attractions stay open longer. I mean, the absolute worst thing that Universal could do is shutter this thing in 10 years, right? Because they put so much money into it, it's going to take that long just to get it back. So I don't want to see that happen for sure. But if you go and there's only 4 rides, that doesn't do anybody any good either. I mean, the negative press on that. I mean, that's what happened with Hollywood Studios. I'm sorry, MGM Studios.
Can you please get it right? Disney MGM Studios.
Disney MGM Studios. But like, I remember going on that and having it be. Do you remember the studio lot tour?
Yes, loved it.
Yeah.
Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why go on that when you could go on the Universal's one?
I wanted
that was I liked the idea of it being a live studio. I don't think they capitalized on it nearly enough, but I also don't think they could, right? It's like, how are you going to have randos walking into whatever they were filming? Didn't they film Who Wants to Be a Millionaire there for a little bit?
Well, they had the experience, so you could actually, and I did go and watch it, and you were part of it. So the entire audience would answer the first, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 questions, whatever it was, and then they would take top 5 scores or whatever, and then eventually whittle it down for just one person playing for the $1 million. I don't remember what the actual prize was. It was not $1 million, but and so yeah, they had things like that. They had Sounds Dangerous, which was awesome with Drew Carey, and you would be a part of another set, right? And they would show you how the sounds work on a set. I remember doing that on my honeymoon as well. We loved that. But we also had Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror, and don't hurt me anyone, I did not ride the Great Movie Ride.
You didn't?
I didn't. I never got on there. I don't even know at that time that I knew that there was a ride in that building.
So the Great Movie Ride, I have a soft spot for it because it is one of those rides that probably shouldn't have existed, to be very honest, right? It's the fact that they went through, basically 100 years of cinema, grand tapestry of modern cinema, was just kind of amazing, right? And to see, spoilers for a ride that no longer exists, I guess. You'd go through all these movies, right? And one of them you went through and you were in Aliens, an alien, and the alien thing kind of come out, and it was all swampy and gross and hot, and you heard Sigourney Weaver in the background, and then you'd also go through and see Temple of, the Indiana Jones Raiders before the ride at Disneyland. So, like, it's a soft spot for movie lovers. And the fact that it existed for that long is kind of amazing, to be very honest. The fact that, like, IP didn't come in and try to take it away and, whatever. But the Great Movie Ride, yeah, that is near and dear to my heart. I wish they do more stuff like the Get Dangerous or Sounds Dangerous stuff, or the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire interactive things. So when I was little, one of the years I went to Universal Studios in Hollywood for my birthday, and they had the Star Trek experience. Do you know what the Star Trek experience is?
No.
Okay.
Trekkie.
Okay. Well, okay. So we're gonna have some. Basically, they cast you in. They filmed it. They cast you. They filmed it. They cut it all together, and you could buy a VHS copy of it. And I have it somewhere downstairs. But they cut in pieces of the movies, of the Star Trek movies, not the show, because I don't think they had rights to the show, but that doesn't matter. They cut in bits of the movies, and in it, so this is kind of my nerd cred. In it, I play the Klingon dog, and I eat an arm or something like this, and I get an and Stuart Boyles as the Klingon Wolfhound or something like that in Star Trek lettering. So, like, yeah, no, it's.
Yeah. Oh wait, man! I didn't realize I was talking to such a star.
I mean, my I should have my residual in the mail soon, but stuff like that puts you inside the magic, and I really wish they would do stuff like that some more.
I don't think you can use magic when the word magic. I think that's trademarked by Disney. You can't use that when talking about Universal.
Not even the Ministry of?
No, it's been. I mean, they took that word magic and tattooed it across the horse after it died, and then beat the heck out of it for a while.
They did.
They do every so often. They're like, go get that horse.
Wait, who does that? Disney or Universal?
Disney, yes.
Oh yeah, Disney.
Yeah.
The 100 years of magic versus the 100 years of the company being founded. Those two were kind of weird.
Yeah, well, that was the 100 years.
celebration.
I was there for 100 years of magic, but I also got to be there for 100 years of wonder. Right?
Ooh.
Yeah. And I have a bucket to prove it.
There you go. The magical popcorn bucket. I mean, it is if they bringing you back to the fifth park, if they open a fifth park, it feels like a cash grab. Epic Universe feels like a cash grab. Is that what Disney wants to be doing right now? Disney Plus is a cash grab, to be honest. I mean, it's a good cash grab. It's on the forefront of trying to be part of the streaming wars, but it's still a way to get more of your money directly from you without shuffling it somewhere else.
Right. And I mean, that's just corporate greed, if you want to throw that word in there. But I mean, that's how a corporation works, right? They got to take care of their shareholders first. And I'll tell you what, if they can get Disney Plus to start making some money and take the heat off of the parks needing to pay for the company, I would be all for it.
I heard a statistic that ESPN makes more than every other Disney company combined.
No, that can't be true.
Yeah.
It wasn't that
Football
long.
Right.
It was just all this. It was sucking everything out of it. Everything was having to go to pay for all the losses ESPN was creating.
It's NFL rights. Because they're going to make an over the top, and ESPN is going to make a basically all-in-one package that's not going to be all-in-one. They're going to market it as all-in-one, but you still have to buy everything. So you're going to be able to ideally log into ESPN, whatever they're going to call it, and be able to watch whatever game you want. And you might have to, microtransaction this or microtransaction that, or sign up for Pluto TV or whatever it is, and get everything that you need. But the idea is you're going to go to this app first, ESPN app, and then go to the next one later on.
Okay.
So you're going to be able to watch your Packers game without having to drive down the road.
I'll get to that in a second. That's contradictory to my experience, though, because my experience is that they've now brought Hulu and ESPN onto the Disney Plus platform so that I can see some of and they give me, as part of my Disney Plus now, some of those options from those carriers, those other apps. So if I go to Disney Plus, I can get what I want, and I can upgrade to ESPN Plus or whatever, and then it all comes into the Disney Plus app.
That's true. I mean, I think part of that is because Disney Plus is worldwide. Disney Plus has all of that in it. Like if you go overseas, Shogun was in Disney Plus. It was not in Hulu via, and then two separate logins or whatever. It's only in America that we've had, or North America that we've had, this sort of separation of it. And now that I think they're realizing that they can just bring it back together under one roof. And it's okay to have, Robin Hood, and I'm pointing to my wonderful Robin Hood shirt again, next to, something like Shogun, and the parental controls are there and working. And I can only imagine that as time goes on, ESPN will get sort of under that umbrella too, but not if they have this, and I forget the name of it, but this like massive Sports Central thing. Sports rights are what make money in streaming, in the streaming world, and the first company that can crack sports broadcasting well is going to run away with it.
Well, I'd agree with that. I think people have now gotten so accustomed to watching TV when they want that live TV is kind of a dying breed, right? And the only thing keeping it going is live sports, because we still want to watch it when it happens. We don't want to watch it tomorrow when we are probably going to already know what happened. So
we don't want to watch it 10 seconds after it happens.
right.
We want to know. The lag is what kills sports streaming right now. So, I mean, you live in Green Bay, right, or close enough to it to.
Yes.
You don't live right down the street from Lambeau, right? But close enough to know.
I wish I was living this close to Disney World, but
Right.
here I am.
So okay. Can
Anyway.
you hear Lambeau if they do a touchdown? Can you hear it?
No, but I have been able to hear fireworks at times because
Okay.
when there's a touchdown, there could be fireworks shut off.
Mhm.
If I had my windows open, I could hear that at times. I mean, I am a good 15-minute drive down the road.
So imagine being right next to that, right? And you're watching the game on TV and you hear the touchdown, woo! And then 10 seconds later, 10 seconds, huge amount of time, you hear it on your TV, right? In that time, you can get texts. In that time, all that stuff happens, and you're like, "Oh man, they've got a touchdown. I'm happy, but now I can see it on TV."
I've actually lived that because I've watched games at houses across the street from the stadium, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. But anyway, go ahead.
So the thing that's going to solve that's lag, and it's a big deal in the streaming world. The thing that's going to solve that is gambling, because live sports betting hates 10-second lag, hates it, and they're going to figure it out because there's a whole bunch of money in live sports betting.
Okay.
And it's been deregulated enough to where people can actually start making a lot of money off of it, and so they're going to figure out how to get it as little lag as possible from the actual stadium to your TV monitor or your screen, through all the satellites and internet connections and all that sort of stuff as quickly as possible. And I'm excited for that because that's going to open it up to, gambling is going to provide a way for innovation, and I'm excited to see what the innovation is. I don't know what it's going to be because I'm not an innovator, but I'm excited to see it.
And by putting it on a streaming service, that takes away the need to censor, because regular over-the-air TV is required to censor, and that's why there's a lag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that they can hit the censor button, so that they can cover up Janet Jackson when there's a wardrobe malfunction, right?
Wow, that's a deep cut.
I figured
it happened. What 20? Like how long ago did that happen?
I don't even. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
So long that the $5 million fine that they got doesn't sound like much.
No.
Anyway, that was a tangent. We're talking football.
Yeah. I don't even like football.
The guy that messages me on Sundays and asks me if the Packers are playing.
I can't hear him from where I live. I only care about football for two reasons. One, if the Packers win, that's good. And two, if the Packers lose, that's bad. Because now I got to go talk to store owners and be like, okay, sir, I know that your team just lost, but can I have a display? Like, I don't want to have to do that. So I only key into that.
And this is not by any means a Packers podcast, but life in Green Bay is a little different than life elsewhere.
Yes.
Yes.
And not being from the Midwest originally, like I didn't grow up here, right? That's a new experience to me. And it's kind of heartwarming, right? I drive down to Green Bay and you see everybody, especially down, what is that? Lombardi? Especially down.
Goodness.
I don't know the road names. I know where to turn.
It's Lombardi.
Okay. Especially down that road. you see all the houses with all the green and yellow, and that's really cool, right?
Right.
We went to a concert at the Resch Center, which is the stadium, which is the auditorium right next to the stadium, and the lead singer of, I think it was Mercy Me, was like, "Yeah, this is a stockholders meeting because we're all stockholders of this show, of the team, because everybody owns a piece of the Green Bay Packers. I mean, who doesn't like the Green Bay Packers? That's right, the Detroit Lions. Anyway, go ahead.
There are plenty of people out there, but I will always state that there are more Packer bars in the country than there are Cowboys bars. There are more anti-Cowboys bars across the country.
But that's just because there's more bars in Wisconsin.
That's not, the Packers used to have a website. I haven't gone in a long time to look, but they used to have a website that you could go to, and it listed a Packer bar, multiple Packer bars in every state that you could go and visit.
I mean, there's a reason it's America's hometown team, right? Hometown, is that what they're called? The America's hometown team? Something like that.
I've never heard that before, but I bring up the Cowboys because they call the Cowboys America's team, but the Packers do have actually more of a following.
Yeah, well,
and I could get into that, but like I said, this is not a Packers podcast.
If we do get into that, we're gonna have to change the intro and outro.
To go Pack go.
Right.
Yes.
You can watch Monday night or Sunday night football on the cruise on the Jumbotron. You know that, right?
Yes.
If you're on a cruise, and Funnel Vision is the big TV that you can sit in the pool and watch movies on. They'll actually play the whatever game is on Sunday there. So if the Packers are playing, you won't lose out watching that on Sunday Night Football.
It is a way of life in this town, and
town.
Yeah, yes, this is a town.
The whole state is a Packer.
I will tell you, I grew up in Madison. And I'd get back there often because my family's still down there. The culture, and I've heard it from other people, the culture in Green Bay proper, well, not proper, the Green Bay area, which is, maybe as far as Appleton, maybe a little up towards, not as far as you, but, a little bit further north. But anyway, the area around Green Bay, the culture is much different. It's a different kind of way that we think about the Packers. In Madison, it's the Badgers. People wear Badger stuff a lot.
That's true.
You see, you would see Packer stuff on game days, and people don't really talk about them outside of it. I was waiting in line for a thing, and the lady goes, "So what do you think the Packers are going to do this week?" Like, you don't get that in other towns. You get that around here.
I mean, and part of that is the way they're structured, right? Because people own, like, it's not owned by a big tech bro. It's not owned by a cable company. It's owned by the people in Green Bay.
They don't have an owner proper. No, they have a board of directors. It's publicly owned by 250 some odd thousand shareholders. If everyone showed up for the shareholder meeting, they wouldn't have a place for them all to go. They would need 3 stadiums for that.
Right.
But that's kind of what makes them unique and so loved. And if they were to ever dissolve and have to sell the team, it goes to it used to go to like a VFW post, but now it goes to they've actually changed it to the Packers Foundation so that all the money gets donated out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things
we've gone on about this a little too.
Well, hold on. I'm going to bring it back. Disney and the Packers both share a common love of people. And that's what I like about it. I don't really care about football as much, but I like that they are trying to build and trying to work on building this community and the community surrounding Disney and surrounding the Packers. So that's what I like about it.
Okay. I'm sure we will come back to the Packers in future episodes. I do have some ideas. I did go to this last home game and had a great time. I have things I want to talk about that in relation to Disney. I think that's better save for another episode though. So this was a good one, Stuart. I'm liking this. This is gonna be good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to sit and talk with your Disney friends and or your Green Bay, Wisconsin Packer friends. I guess I don't know, but it's good to sit and talk with people. And I think that's. I was trying to think about like what the podcast is. You know what are we trying to do here? And I think the answer is trying to sit down and have conversations with your Disney friends and just talk with your Disney friends. And that's what I want to be, is your Disney friends. So let's be his Disney friends.
There we go. I like it. And you know, Disney friends, it's great. I've lost my thought. There it goes. I just watched it walk out the door. Gone. Bye.
Gone. Bye.
Bye. No, I liked what you had to say, and we definitely have more to get to. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I definitely want to and need these conversations. I was gonna say this last week when we were talking as well. I don't have a trip planned right now. No,
yeah,
and that's a problem for me. And until I get to that point of being able to plan something, need these conversations.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am too. We don't have a trip plan. We were almost trying to. This is actually maybe a good show conversation. Is how to, you know, what you only got 36 hours in a park. Which side of the country do you go on? So we've thought about that conversation as well. But yeah, we our plan fell through, so we're back to not having a plan. That was just sad. So well, maybe we'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll get a plan together as we continue talking.
Maybe.
But until then, make sure you go on out to Facebook, Instagram, the YouTubes. I don't know. I need to be that old man saying it wrong once in a while. And find us there and let us know how you're feeling about Disney. Throw in the Packers if you want. Tell Stuart he's crazy. Whatever.
I mean, yes, but what am I crazy about this time?
Well, that's what they have to tell us about, right?
Okay.
Star Trek, yes, absolutely.
Star Trek. I will talk Star Trek a lot. We could just talk about Star Trek and the Packers and what's Disney? Yeah, no. Yeah.
You've been here enough, haven't you?
10 years. 10 years.
It rubs off. It rubs off.
Does.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next time. And I had just blew right through. Let's try that again. But as we like to say, some live close.
And some don't.
So let's talk about it. We will see you next time on Miles from Main Street.